Hello there, Parth Sharma this side, and today we are going to learn about the opposition. So, what is oppositions? So, opposition is basically the thing with the kings. So, what's an opposition? An opposition is a situation where the kings are face to face each other. So, as you can see, the kings are face to face each other, but there is one more point. That important point is that there are odd number of squares between the kings. So here there's one square, so kings are in opposition. Now here again kings are in opposition because there are three squares in between the kings. So odd number of squares in between the kings. Another way to look at it as the both kings are in the same file and they are at same type of square. Like both the kings are on dark square. So this is also an opposition. Now this is like vertical opposition, another is side opposition. So this is also an opposition. As you can see, there are three squares in between the kings. Similarly, this is also an opposition, so is this. But for today's lesson, we are going to look at the vertical opposition. Now there are two types of opposition. One is this, the direct opposition. Direct opposition is when there's only one square in between the kings. And another kind of opposition or another type of opposition is called distant opposition. It's when there are odd number of squares in between the kings, but more than one, like 3. This is also a distant opposition. Even this is also a distant opposition. Now opposition plays a very key role in the end games, particularly in king and pawn end games. It plays a decisive role as far as king and pawn end games are concerned. Now, how to know that who has the opposition? So let's say if I add, let's say, pawn, so then how would I say, like, who has the opposition? Well, the side not to play has the opposition. So if this is white to play, then black has the opposition, and if it is black to play, then white has the opposition. Now what's the importance of opposition? The side who has the opposition has result in their favor. So as you can see, even though white has a pawn, so you might be thinking that white should be winning in this case. However, since black has the opposition, and the best result for black will be a draw. So this position with an accurate play, the accurate play will be a draw. Now, if I shift it like this way, I mean, doesn't change a thing, but like for the sake of clarity is what I want to say. Now, this position with white to play is a draw. Why? Because the black has the opposition. So if it were black to play, white to play, then white will play king e3 or whatever white does play. Then black will keep taking the opposition by playing king e5. Okay, so white says, why can't I just push the pawn? And now kings are facing each other, and it's black to play. So technically, white should have the opposition, right? Well, that's not the case because black can play king f5 and regain the opposition. Because if white were to take the opposition from black, white should be able to play king f3. However, there's a white pawn here which stops white king going there and taking the opposition. So king f5 is the way to go. Okay, white tries to play f4, try to take the opposition, but again, black should play a move such that it regains the opposition. So black will play king f6, because if white had to take the opposition, white should be able to play king f4. However, this pawn is occupying that square, and therefore white cannot take the opposition from black. By the way, I should say that if king goes to e6, that would still be a draw, and king g6 will also be a draw, because in all these three conditions, black will be able to regain the opposition from white. So king f6, like for the sake of clarity and going in the spirit of opposition, we are doing king f6, king f3. Now simply go king f5, king g3, king f6, And white can realize that white is not making any progress, so might as well just play king g4. Now the question comes, how will black take the opposition? Well, the answer is quite simple, just play king g6. Keep taking the opposition, f5 check. Now all the moves like king f7 is the move that we want to play, because if white were to take the opposition, he should be able to play king f5, but that pawn is occupying that square, so he cannot take the opposition. Also king g7 is also a draw, and so is king f6. So all these three moves work, but again, we're going in the spirit of opposition. We'll play king f7. Okay, white wants to make progress, so he has to play king g5, king g7, keep taking the opposition, f6 check. Now again, going in the spirit of opposition, we will go king f8, and king f7 also draws, but not king g8 this time, because in this case king g6, white will have the opposition and it will drive the king out of the promotion square, and then pawn is promoting here. So when this check happens, you go either f7 or f8, but in the spirit of opposition we will go f8. King f5, we will not go here or here, because if we go here then king e6 wins for white, we know why. And if we go here, king g6 wins for white, again we know why. So we will go king f7, king e5. Now there's only one move that draws, other moves lose. King e8 loses, we know why, because of king e6. So does king g8. This time king e6 wins with the same technique. You drive the king out of the promotion square, and then the queen promotion is unstoppable. So what is the only drawing move in this position for black? The answer is simple, king f8. And white cannot make any progress unless it moves its king up. King e6, black keeps taking the opposition. f7 check. I mean, this check is in vain, because after king f8, it's going to be a draw on the next move, because if white plays king f6, it's a stalemate. The black king cannot move anywhere, and it's not in check either. And if it moves anywhere else, this pawn will be captured by the black king like this. So the pawn is captured, and it's a draw, because only two kings are left on the board. Nobody has a winning material. So this is how you draw the game in opposition. Keep taking the opposition, and at the end of the day, you will draw the game. Now, this position with white to play is also a draw, because again black has the opposition. This position with white to play is also a draw, because again black has the opposition. But what happens when this position is white to play, or this position is black to play? We will learn in the coming video. Thanks for watching.